I'm going to operate under the assumption that when you say wicked, you mean non-Christian or atheists. If I'm wrong, let me know, but I just don't think I am. And as an atheist and an autistic atheist at that, I value truth above all else. If you or any other Christian can provide me testable, repeatable proof of your God, I will concede that he is real. I won't worship him because he's evil, but I will concede he's real.
This is one of the easiest challenges given by any unbeliever to us Christians. Well, where's proof of God? The very first and most obvious answer is creation itself. Creation proves a creator. Romans 1:20 tells us, "For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they, unbelievers, are without excuse." Hundreds of years ago, the great mathematician and philosopher Gottfried Leibniz, he posed this question: why is there anything at all rather than nothing whatsoever? In other words, why is there something, the universe? Why is there anything rather than nothing? The logic of his argument can be stated like this: everything that exists has an explanation of its existence. If the universe has an explanation of its existence, that explanation is God. The universe exists, therefore the explanation of the universe's existence is God. And you may be asking, well, why does it have to be God? Why can't it be some other mechanism that we've theorized about in the past, some other process? I do believe that to this, William Lane Craig's ministry gives one of the best answers.
Why not say, the universe is just there, and that's all? No explanation needed. End of discussion. Well, imagine you and a friend are hiking in the woods and come across a shiny sphere lying on the ground. You would, naturally, wonder how it came to be there. And you'd think it odd if your friend said, "There's no reason or explanation for it. Stop wondering. It just is." And if the ball were larger, it would still require an explanation. In fact, if the ball were the size of the universe, the change in its size wouldn't remove the need for an explanation. Is it reasonable to call the explanation of the universe God? Well, what is the universe? It's all of space-time reality, including all matter and energy. It follows that if the universe has a cause of its existence, that cause cannot be part of the universe. It must be non-physical and immaterial, beyond space and time. The list of entities that could possibly fit this description is fairly short, and abstract objects cannot cause anything. Leibniz's contingency argument shows that the explanation for the existence of the universe can be found only in the existence of God. Or, if you prefer not to use the term God, you may simply call him the extremely powerful, uncaused, necessarily existing, non-contingent, non-physical, immaterial, eternal being who created the entire universe and everything in it.
So the number one evidence for the Creator is creation itself. Number two, we see that the design found within the universe proves a designer.
From galaxies and stars, down to atoms and subatomic particles, the very structure of our universe is determined by these numbers. These are the fundamental constants and quantities of the universe. Scientists have come to the shocking realization that each of these numbers has been carefully dialed to an astonishingly precise value, a value that falls within an exceedingly narrow, life-permitting range. If any one of these numbers were altered by even a hair's breadth, no physical, interactive life of any kind could exist anywhere. There'd be no stars, no life, no planets, no chemistry. Consider gravity, for example. The force of gravity is determined by the gravitational constant. If this constant varied by just 1 in 10 to the 60th parts, none of us would exist. To understand how exceedingly narrow this life-permitting range is, imagine a dial divided into 10 to the 60th increments. To get a handle on how many tiny points on the dial this is, compare it to the number of cells in your body. If the gravitational constant had been out of tune by just one of these infinitesimally small increments, the universe would either have expanded and thinned out so rapidly that no stars could form and life couldn't exist, or it would have collapsed back on itself with the same result: no stars, no planets, and no life. Or consider the expansion rate of the universe. This is driven by the cosmological constant. A change in its value by a mere 1 part in 10 to the 120th parts would cause the universe to expand too rapidly or too slowly. In either case, the universe would, again, be life-prohibiting. The fact is, our universe permits physical, interactive life only because these, and many other numbers, have been independently and exquisitely balanced on a razor's edge. Wherever physicists look, they see examples of fine-tuning. The remarkable fact is that the values of these numbers seem to have been very finely adjusted to make possible the development of life. If anyone claims not to be surprised by the special features that the universe has, he's hiding his head in the sand. These special features are surprising and unlikely.
My dear friends, planet Earth itself is so miraculously designed that it could only come from the mind of a great and all-knowing creator.
What's so special about Earth?
Oh, many, many things. Our planet orbits the sun in the habitable zone for a start. We have liquid water, vital for life. But not only that, ice and water vapour can exist as well, so it's an amazing combination. We have a spin rate that regulates the temperature. We have an axis tilt that provides a regular pattern of seasons. We have an atmosphere which contains enough oxygen for us to be able to breathe, but not too much that the atmosphere is highly combustible. We have an abundance of water on the Earth, and water is very special. It expands on freezing so that you have water underneath ice so that marine life can survive the coldest of winters. It has a magnetic field that protects it. The list goes on and on. We really are in a Goldilocks planet.
So there's evidence for a creator in the creation, a designer in the design, and then we have objective morality, in which this young lady herself actually stumbled into at the end of this video.
If you or any other Christian can provide me testable, repeatable proof of your God, I will concede that he is real. I won't worship him because he's evil, but I will concede he's real.
I ask you, my friends, where does this young lady get the idea of evil from? What's good? What's evil? What does it matter if there is no objective morality?
For the atheist, humans are just accidents of nature, highly evolved animals. But animals have no moral obligations to one another. When a cat kills a mouse, it hasn't done anything morally wrong. The cat's just being a cat. If God doesn't exist, we should view human behavior in the same way. No action should be considered morally right or wrong. But the problem is, good and bad, right and wrong, do exist. Just as our sense experience convinces us that the physical world is objectively real, our moral experience convinces us that moral values are objectively real. Every time you say, "Hey, that's not fair, that's wrong, that's an injustice," you affirm your belief in the existence of objective morals. We're well aware that child abuse, racial discrimination, and terrorism are wrong for everybody, always. Is this just a personal preference or opinion? No. The man who says that it is morally acceptable to rape little children is just as mistaken as the man who says 2 + 2 = 5. Atheism fails to provide a foundation for the moral reality every one of us experiences every day. In fact, the existence of objective morality points us directly to the existence of God.
So for any and all atheists out there and whom are asking for proof of God, we have creation, which proves a creator. design within the creation, proving a designer, and then objective morality. Now, some of you may be asking the question, well, that doesn't prove the biblical God is the God of the universe. Well, I've already went over this many times. I've made one particular video about it. Top 5 proofs of the Christian God. I highly recommend all of you watching that. And of course, some are still going to ask the very silly question that I didn't even ask as an unbeliever. As an atheist in my 20s, I never even asked this, but some would say, well, who created God? That's one of the most meaningless questions ever. Jesus said in John 4:24, God is a spirit. He's not like anything in this universe. He wasn't created. Now, we know that nothing in this universe can possibly be eternal, but spirit in the spirit realm, as the Bible tells us, in the spirit realm, things do live forever. God, in particular, is eternal. He's the only eternal being that has always been. His name even suggests that. I would now like to close with this quote from C.S. Lewis. When you are arguing against God, you are arguing against the very power that makes you able to argue at all. It is like cutting off the branch you are sitting on.